Chapter 2, Saving. This chapter emphasizes the importance of saving and explains the 3 reasons to save: emergencies, large purchases, and wealth building. You might be wondering why you, a teenager, need to worry about saving money. While saving money when you make very little can be a challenge, it is important that you develop a habit of saving a portion of what you earn now. This simple habit can change your life in the years to come. In fact, it's the only foolproof way of becoming a millionaire. The best part is anyone can do it. The earlier you begin to save, the wealthier you can become. It's as simple as that. 25% of American families have no savings at all. 40% of Americans are not saving for retirement. Our learning outcomes. Section 1, Saving, an exercise of character. Section 2, 3 basic reasons to save money. Section 3, the power of compound interest. Key terms. Compound interest. Interest paid on interest previously earned. Credited daily, monthly, quarterly, or semi-annually. Emergency fund. $500 in readily available cash to be used only in the event of an emergency. The goal of the first foundation. Interest rate. Percentage paid to a lender for the use of the borrowed money. Percentage earned on invested principal. So if you're the person in debt, you want that interest rate to be low. If you're the person investing your money, you want the interest rate to be higher so that you can earn more money on your investment. The 5 foundations. These are Dave Ramsey's 5 steps to financial success. Sinking fund. Saving money over time for a large purchase. Here's a pre-assessment for you. Circle agree or disagree. 1. The amount of money you save depends on how much money you earn. Simply put, you will save more when you earn more. 2. A savings account at your bank is the best place to put your emergency fund. 3. The biggest factors in compound interest and building wealth are time and the initial amount of the investment. 4. It is okay to use your emergency fund to pay cash for big purchases, such as a TV or a cell phone. 5. You should pay yourself first before you pay bills. Section 1, Saving, an exercise of character. The 5 foundations of saving. Foundation number 1, save a $500 emergency fund. Foundation 2, get out of debt. Foundation 3, pay cash for your car. Foundation 4, pay cash for college. And foundation number 5, build wealth and give. The first foundation is saving an emergency fund. It's going to rain. Even as a young adult, you need a rainy day fund. You'll have many financial goals throughout your life. You don't want anything to stand in the way of paying your way through college or buying your first house. But emergencies will happen along the way. Money Magazine says that 78% of us will have a major negative event in a given 10-year period of time. At your age, it might be needing to pay for a car repair. Later in life, it might be an extended illness or an injury that keeps you from working for several months. Regardless of the emergency, having money set aside, $500 at your age, will ensure that those life events do not devastate you financially. Are Americans good savers? A negative savings rate. Back in December 2006, CNN Money reported that Americans had a negative 0.6% savings rate. The savings rate compares after-tax income to the money people spent on a variety of items. It turns negative when people take on additional debt, such as credit cards or car loans. The negative savings rate meant that Americans were spending more money than they were making in 2006. The title of CNN Money's article was "Americans Spend Every Cent and More." Critics say America's negative savings rate can't be sustained and see a recession coming. Are they right? Fast forward to today. The critics were right, and Americans faced one of the worst recessions in our nation's history. If our collective spending and saving habits have an effect on the overall economy, shouldn't Americans want to change their behavior? After all, when the economy is strong, we prosper through lower unemployment and higher incomes. When it is weak, we suffer with high unemployment and lower incomes. Americans' initial response to the economic downturn was positive. In the summer of 2008, the savings rate reached nearly 7%. However, Americans did not maintain this new commitment to saving. By 2010, Americans saved 5.5% of their income. During 2012, that number plunged as low as 3.3%. Let's take a look at the year-over-year growth in personal income and spending from November 2016 to November 2017. The light blue line towards the bottom of the graph is personal income. The dark blue line towards the top of the graph is personal spending. And the goldenrod color in the middle of the graph is the savings rate. Pause the video and think about some observations you notice by looking at this graph. What's the lesson here? When things are good, Americans tend to behave as though things will always be good. The reality is, whether it's an economic downturn or a personal money emergency, you have to be prepared. You need an emergency fund, an old-fashioned rainy day fund. Let's review the notes for this section. The first foundation. The first foundation is $500 in an emergency fund. You should do this as quickly as possible. When you're in high school, you won't have the same emergency expenses as your parents, like needing to put a new roof on the house. For you, a surprise expense might be fixing a flat tire or replacing a broken cell phone. An emergency fund allows you to have money available for any surprise expenses. If you don't have money saved to pay for these things, then debt will start looking like an easy answer. Debt never solves problems. At best, it just delays one problem while creating another one. When you're older and out of school, you'll need to grow your emergency fund into a full 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. Make sure this money is kept in the bank and that you only use it for emergencies. You can't keep the money handy because it'll get spent. Keep your emergency fund in a separate savings account away from your spending money. Here are some tips and tricks to save $500 quickly. 1, if you get a regular allowance from your parents, save it. 2, hold an auction. Gather things you don't use or need anymore and sell it at a garage sale or online. 3, Become an entrepreneur. Hand out flyers in your neighborhood advertising babysitting or yard work services. 4. If you're old enough and your schedule allows it, get a part-time job. 5. Communicate your money goals with your parents. They might be willing to pay you for extra jobs around the house. 6. If your parents or other relatives own a business, maybe you could get a job there. 7. Consider tutoring. 8. Take advantage of summer months off from school. You could be a camp counselor, a golf caddy, or a lifeguard, for instance. 9. Watch the local ads for people needing pet sitters or house sitters. And 10, use your skills. Think about what you're good at. You might be able to offer horseback riding lessons, Spanish lessons, piano lessons, other sports lessons. Section 2, 3 basic reasons to save money. 1. Emergency. 2. Purchases. 3. Wealth. Save a $500 emergency fund. Keep in mind that $500 won't always be enough for your emergency fund. As you get older and you have more financial responsibilities, like paying a mortgage and supporting a family, you will want to have 3 to 6 months of living expenses set aside in your emergency fund. Emergencies are going to happen. Count on it. The first foundation, a beginner emergency fund, is $500. It's a good idea to open a separate savings account for your emergency fund and then leave it alone. Your emergency fund is not an investment. It is insurance for when unexpected things happen. The emergency fund is your first savings priority. Do it quickly. Purchases. The second thing you save money for is purchases. Instead of borrowing to purchase, pay cash by using a sinking fund approach. A sinking fund is a way to save when you know you have a large purchase coming up, like a prom dress or new tires for your car. You calculate the expected cost of the item and how long you have until you need to purchase it. Divide the total cost of the item by the number of months until the purchase. For instance, if prom is 5 months away and the amount you are willing to spend is $200, you will need to save $40 a month toward your purchase. 200 divided by 5 equals 40. Saving over time means you will never need to go into debt for a large purchase. Think of it this way. You pay yourself $40 a month and then pay cash instead of using a credit card and paying someone else $40 a month plus interest. That's right. That dress would end up costing you more than $200 if you put it on a credit card. Wealth building. The third thing you save money for is wealth building. Discipline is the key ingredient when it comes to wealth building. Building wealth is a marathon, not a sprint. Compound interest is a mathematical explosion. You must start now. Ready to start saving? Read these bank tips first. Remember, the emergency fund is not intended to grow wealth, so interest earned is not a factor on that one. A bank is one of the safest places to keep your money. Since the financial crisis of 2008, the federal government, also known as the FDIC, increased the level of insurance on bank accounts to $250,000 per depositor. An interest-bearing account is an account that generates interest income on the available balance in the account. The convenience of a bank account comes at a cost. Banks generally pay lower rates on interest-bearing accounts than other financial institutions that offer accounts that resemble bank services. The most common are brokerage cash management accounts, credit union accounts, and mutual fund money market accounts. Inflation can eat up the interest you earn on an interest-bearing account. Section 3, the power of compound interest. When you look at this diagram, it helps you see clearly why compound interest is so important. The blue line is simple interest, not growing very quickly over a long period of time. And the red is compound interest, and you can see it growing slowly at first and then skyrocketing after about 10 years on this chart. What is interest? The most powerful force in the universe is compound interest. Albert Einstein. So what is interest? In investing, it's the money the principal, or the original amount you invested, earns. It's typically a percentage of the principal paid on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis. Compound interest is interest paid on the interest previously earned. Need further explanation? Here's an example. Take a one-time investment of $1,000 and earn 10% on it. Your interest earned at the end of the year is $100. Add that to your original $1,000 and you have $1,100. At the end of the next year, your $1,100 is compounded at 10% interest. So your return on the investment is now $110. Add that to the $1,100 and now you have $1,210. Your interest on $1,210 is $121. So you see, as time passes, the amount you earn from interest grows. That's why it's so important that you start as early as possible. You have more time for your interest to snowball and pick up more and more snow. Inflation is a persistent rise in the price of goods and services over a period of time. Time value of money. This principle suggests that a certain amount of money today has different buying power than the same amount of money in the future. This notion exists both because there is an opportunity to earn interest on the money and because inflation will drive prices up, thereby changing the value of the money. So let's say you and a friend each get $100 for your birthday. Your friend buys designer jeans and you put your cash in a savings account. In 2 years, your money will have earned interest, but you will have enough cash to buy the same. But will you have enough cash to buy the same designer jeans? The trade-off between money now and money later depends on, among other things, the inflation rate and the rate of interest you can earn by investing or saving. The rate of return, or the interest rate on your investment, is important to consider.